Greetings and welcome to the channel, and today we're going to be looking at setting up your AWS Cognito backend. Please like, share, and subscribe, and most importantly, reach out to me in the comment section for any help, tips, and suggestions. So before we begin, I'd like to give a shout out to AWS Cognito, right? It's user management API that Amazon Web Services provides. Also want to be using Python. Definitely very useful. Python has grown to be a main force in the tech industry today. And definitely wanted to mention Thunder Client, right? So instead of a traditional front-end API with Angular that we always use, we're going to be using Thunder Client. Think of it like Postman, right? So you don't have to do all that full stack application setup in order to understand how we're going to get our backend to work today. So first, what we like to do is to install our Windows requirements. Basically, I like to have Windows requirements and Linux requirements as well. Right, and then this should all be cached, right? So it should be ready to go, right? While those set up, right, what we want to go ahead and do is head into our template PY. I call it our backend, but for all intents and purposes, the file is actually template. Right, so first things first, you want to understand is that when you're working with AWS and Python, there's this package called Boto3, and there's two ways to work with your API. One is without the admin functionality, which you would just go ahead and use your user client ID as well as the client secret, right, in order to access your Cognito IDP through the Boto client, but this has no admin access. So say, for example, you wanted to confirm a user, like admin confirm user, you don't want the user to confirm themselves, they call support and you need to confirm them, right? You wouldn't be able to do this setup. What you would, however, need, you would need admin setup. So what you need is you need an SES Boto3 client, right? With some sort of admin access, admin policy access, right? That could either be in your root or that could either be from a user specifically designed to give that access, right? Root is just to easily understand what's going on, but it's as easily simple to set that up. And we're going to show how we're going to set things up in our AWS console. Right, so what we want to go ahead and do is you want to head over to our username and then head over to the security credentials. Right, I'm going to show you how to set up root credentials. Right, all we need to do is provide for access keys, and then we go ahead and create a new access key like so. Right, so this is going to show our access key. What we want to do back in our backend environment, right? You want to provide for the root account. You want to provide the client ID and the user client secret, right? You want to provide those two values that you get from the key file. Right? Now say, for example, right, you want to be careful with your privileges. Amazon recommends not to use the root account. Right, what we want to go ahead and do is we want to head over to our users and we want to go ahead and create a new user. All right, provide the name. The name is going to be my sample user for now. The name is not really important, it's just the access keys, right? So now there's two types, programmatic and AWS. Say, for example, a non-developer needs to head into the console to do some management with the data, right? You give them this management logged in. Programmatic access is like a service account. So in Google Cloud Platform, what we have are service accounts, and this is the respective in AWS. So we want to make our user programmatic access, aka Google GCP service account, right? After which we want to attach existing policies directly, right? Or for your intents and purposes, copy like so, right? You want to be able to check. I wish you could just check and add whatever. Just check the box and it's ready to go concerning the policies. Tags, unless you're aware of what goes on here, no need for tags, right? And now you want to review, and now you want to go ahead and create the user, right? So now you have your access key, and now you have your ID, and now you have your secret access key. So we want to go ahead and do, for our STS user client ID and the user client secret, you want to provide respectively those values there. Right, so what we're going to provide next is that we want to go ahead and set up our cognito user pools. So in AWS Cognito, we have user pools and admin pools. For this lab, we're just going to be working on our user pools, right? So we're going to go ahead, create a user pool like so, right? I'm going to add another user pool. I'm just going to make my sample pool. And then you really want to go through the instructions. It's very important configurations when handling user authentication, right? So we're going to provide for this lab is email, and now we want to allow for email addresses, and later this is actually going to confirm email addresses, which we will see in this lab, right? For our password, right, we're just going to uncheck everything. We just want to allow things to go through, right? You could test this to even fail, right? Maybe upper and lower case, but just to see if you get an invalid password, what the errors would look like. A lot of people sign themselves up, and we want to continue. Now, MFA is another step, right? There's TOTP as well as SMS MFA. SMS is out the scope of this lab. However, if you want to enable TOTP MFA, right, a sample is going to be provided in the resources section of this lab. Then over to the next step. And then here is just message customizations, right? Say, for example, if you have your own email you'd like to send from, right, you would take care of this in SES, right? This is also out of the scope of this lab, but for SES, right, you need to go ahead and enable SES, take it out of the sandbox, and then set things up from there. Once you take SES out of the sandbox, right, then this should be working. It's just a general overview. Over to the next step. Don't worry about our tags, our devices, right? What this basically means is that AWS Cognito remembers the user's device and is able to, instead of the refresh token, use the user's device, if you will, the user agent, in order to verify and provide an access token, right? And now this is an important part. We want to add an app client, right? My sample app client, right? This is what allows for Boto 3 to connect, right? These refresh tokens, I really like them to last for a couple of hours, not for 30 days. And then the access token, right? Say, for example, 30 minutes, and ID tokens, you don't have to worry about it. And then this always ends up different every single time, but what you want to make sure is that you allow for user pass authentication, right? You always want to be able to provide for that, right? And now you want to go ahead and create your app client, right? And did it get created? Right? Oh, I don't think it created, right? Let's just go ahead, pause the video, and do this again. All right, now let's return to the pool details, review, and then triggers like Lambda triggers. And we don't really need these, right? Because we have a Python backend that's going to take care of that for us, right? We have a whole backend dedicated to that. All right, so now we want to go ahead and create the pool like so. Right, so now a pool is successfully created. So the first important thing is a pool ID, right? You want to go ahead and copy out this pool ID, and now your pool region is just the first part before the asterisk. It's going to be very obvious. It's going to look like a regular region. What you want to go ahead and do is for your cognito region name and your user pool, you want to paste those values. And now for your app client, what you want to provide is for the cognito user pool, and you want to be able to save those changes. And now you want to head over to your app clients, right? And now client ID, when I show the details, what's going to pop up is the app client secret, right? You want to go ahead and paste those values into your configuration, right? So there's a lot of variables going on here. Really, you're not going to be looking to use root. Now I showed you how to specifically make a user and give it admin policies, but just for the purposes of this lab, let me go ahead and update my configuration. And after we do that with our environment, right, we could start the Tornado server. Right, so now after which the Python server is running, now what we want to go ahead and do is we're going to use our Thunder client. All right, and now before we head there, what we have is when we're working with cognito, right, we're going to need to create a secret hash, right? So either if we're using a user account with admin credentials, or if we're using the cognito user account that's created, right, what we need is we need to make a hash out of the key as well as the user that's going to be added to our cognito account. So we need to copy and paste this code. Right, and we are going to go ahead and paste here like so. All right. So now our backend environment is set up. We could take a look at the code as we head through our backend that we set up here. Right. So we want to generate the hash, and then we want to grab the username and password, some of these parameters. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to copy this JSON. Right, and I'm going to provide it, right? So we're making a post request to our backend at port 3006, and I'm going to create an account and let us see what ends up happening. Right, so now my account has been created, and if I head over to the cognito pool, right, my sample pool, all right, I could see that is my account there, right? It's unconfirmed. So what we have is an access code. So now I have to go check for that access code. Right, so those previous access codes were from previous steps. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy the current access code, right? And bring that over, right? And now we're going to use that and confirm our account. Right, so I'm just going to place it down in a read. See a good place to put it. Maybe I should have just copied it. Alright, now I want to go ahead and confirm my account. Right, but you have to remember, let's use a different confirmation code than the one we had before. Right, and then this is JSON, you have to remember your double quotes. Alright, we go ahead and hit send like so. Right, and now that message is okay. Right, and now what we get is an access token. So if you're definitely familiar with full stack applications and login setup, right, you're going to be familiar with this access token, right? A link to in-memory authentication and authorization is going to be in the resources link of this lab. So what I'm going to do is going to take this access token. I'm probably going to need it, right? So I'm going to take it, hold on to it, make a new file for it, right? And now say, for example, I want to go ahead and change the password, right? We have this endpoint, change pass, right? Take a look at our template, right? For confirming the account, right? See what we need. Right, say if we want to resend the code, there's our code there, and then QR, this is for MFA, right? If we want to go ahead and set that up, right? So you're going to see a lot of examples are going to be in this lab. Definitely want you to take a look and see how you can set up the API in order to get this to work. Right, so now for changing our password, right, we need old pass, new pass, and then access token. Notice how we don't need the username, right? Because that's in our access token, right? That logic's going to be in our access token, right? So you're going to place the long access token string with the actual access token like so, right? And then we're going to hit send, right? And now the password has been changed. Great. So now, if you go ahead and sign in again like so, right? You provide the new password, I love apples again. Hit send. This is really beautiful, right? The API is working very, very well, right? And you want to go ahead, grab that access token. And then what I also like about this API is that if there's an error, it actually errors out right away, right? So we want to go ahead and delete account like so. Let's just see what I mean when it errors out right away. It's actually very quick. The Python itself is very quick, so. Right, we're going to get an error real quickly. However, we provide for an access string. It's sent like so, right? And now our account is deleted. And if we go ahead, head over to our user pool, refresh the page, right? No more users found. So thank you for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, and most importantly, reach out to me in the comments section for any help, tips, suggestions. A link to the lab will be posted in the video description, as well as a link to all of our social media. Thanks for watching.